Hello everyone. So today I'll be reading out some email list by Modern Wisdom. So it's 3 minutes today from 6 days back, and I'll be reading a small portion, which I think is quite nice. And when reading it is people have a people are quite lazy to read most, but they're much more easier to listen because their brain is from reels they can't read, they just listen, scroll, procrastinating. Yeah, we'll be talking about that. All right, so 3 minutes today by Modern Wisdom, written by Chris Williamson, and we'll be talking about procrastination. We like to pretend procrastination is a time management problem, but regularly it isn't. It is often a self protection strategy wearing a Fitbit. When we delay doing the thing we know we should do, we're sometimes not wrestling with our schedule, we're wrestling with our self worth. The logic goes like this: if I try and fail, everyone will see. So if I never try at all, the failure is private, deniable, and safe. This is a psychological sleight of hand at the heart of much procrastinators. It feels like an avoidance, but it functions like an armor. You convince yourself the task is scary, or the conditions are imperfect, or you need to feel ready first, but really you're just terrified that doing your best might not be good enough. So you don't do anything. On the surface, procrastination looks like laziness. Underneath, it's fear, wearing a pajama top. The tragedy is how elephant the trap is. Elegant the trap is, not elephant, yeah. You procrastinate because you don't want to look bad. This fear stops you from doing things. That is true. You are afraid of failure, but by procrastinating, you guarantee failure. You're not even trying to do something. If you only try to do something, you know if it's gonna work, or if it's something you like, if it's something you would prefer wanting to do, or if you want to pursue it or something, you have to try it first. Without trying, you don't know anything. Maybe you try it for 1 year and maybe it doesn't work, but at least you tried. That still makes a difference in your character. In building your character, it makes a really large difference. So you inoculate yourself from failure publicly by certifying your failure privately. For example, this YouTube channel. If this doesn't work out, I still learn how to speak to a camera. I learn how to speak. I journal my whatever I'm thinking. Interesting stuff. I have a journal, and this builds a skill within ourselves. If I were to be scared and not do this thing, not do this content creation, I would just be like everyone else, just scared, sitting in their bed, speaking about how good they were in their prime, and never even trying. So yes, we're not going to do that. Anyway, you get to say, well, yeah, you get to say, well, I could have done it if I actually tried. This is a safety blanket, an emotional insurance policy, the psychological loophole that allows you to stay intact while your dreams slowly starve. It's one of those few behaviors where we congratulate ourselves for executing a strategy that literally delivers the opposite of what we want. It's like a man who refuses to play the game unless he can guarantee victory, not realizing that refusing to play the game is the only guaranteed loss. It's one of those things, you know. Oh yes, I used to be really good at academics in my high school years, but right now I don't really care because it doesn't matter. Or I'm still my brain is still sharp because I used to do well in high school. But right now I'm not gonna do anything because I'm lazy. And in college everyone's lazy, so I'm also not gonna study or do good. It's a different matter if they don't care about the studies, but if they care about the studies and when they're studying it and when they have to get the marks to pass the exam, when they really have to and they have to pull it off, they want the degree, and they still make the excuse that yeah, I'm good at studies, but I just don't want to do it now. Just making excuses, fucking pathetic excuses. Yeah. Every time you hide in procrastination, you choose the fake safety of hypothetical excellence over the real messy human business of trying and failing and trying again. That's totally true. You choose the version of yourself who could have done great things over the version who actually might. And this is the uncomfortable truth. Procrastination is often not about indecision. It's a decision to live in theory rather than in practice. Whatever you learn, whatever whatever I read, or whatever I learn through podcast, or whatever intellectually stimulating conversations I have, if I were to not apply it into real life and not have small talks, not speak with regular people, regular normal people, it is quite useless. Almost everyone is a regular people. They are quite impressive, but not in the intellectual way, but it is quite these complex theories, complex concepts, and situations happening around the world. If you are not able to if you are not able to explain it in normal terms, it is useless. I think there was an Albert Einstein quote that it is if the theory you found, if you can't explain to a normal person in simple terms, the theory isn't worth it, something like that. So you have to be able to apply it in practice. That's what it says. Once you see it clearly, the whole game changes. The question stops. Now we are trying to get to solutions. If you're procrastinating like this, we could find a solution to this. We could, how can we change ourselves? The question stops being, if you understand this, when you understand that this problem is there, many people, compare with maybe 5 years ago, there's a lot of people who know about this, but they still don't change. The question stops being, why can't I get started? And becomes, what am I so afraid will be true about me if I actually try? So the question changes. Normally we just go, oh, yeah, I can't do it. Yeah, it's not possible. And we get the hope that it is possible for us to start. And why am I so afraid to, move to a different country, do a different bachelor, start from scratch, and still be yourself and still achieve whatever you said you're going to achieve? You have to blindly, stupidly believe it's possible. And that's one thing. And you have to actually work for it. You have to actually make a plan, viable plan, work for it every single day. That's how we do it. And this question is a much harder question, which is why most people never ask it. That is true. That's why most people never even think about it. Even if they think about it, never get to answer this question. They just carry on congratulating themselves for their caution while quietly guaranteeing the outcome they fear the most. Yeah, if someone tries something and they get into trouble, they just make fun of them. Oh yeah, look at this. If I had tried that, I would have gotten in trouble. So you see, I didn't do it, I didn't get into trouble. See, that's how they think. That's pathetic, useless thinking. If you have to follow that, if you have to check into that person, you would know why their life is miserable. It's quite self-explanatory. The antidote isn't motivation. Motivation comes and goes, as David Goggins says. The antidote is surrender. Lower your stakes. You let yourself look foolish. You accept the embarrassment of being a beginner, the awkwardness of doing something badly, the exposure of putting your real effort into on the line and not being enough. You put all your effort, all your thinking, all your brain power, all your life experiences, and you try something, and it just comes off as complete shit. It happens. That's what beginners are, no matter how old you are, that happens. It turns out the hardest part of any meaningful work is not the work itself, it's the identity shift you must endure for someone who protects their image to someone who risks it. To do that once and procrastination stops being a dragon and becomes what it always was, a flimsy emotional habit built to protect a version of you that was never meant to survive adulthood. This procrastination happens quite strongly when you move from school under your parents into your own life. You have to figure your own stuff. College. This is quite applicable to anyone in college because college is the best place to procrastinate. If you're a bit smart enough in school, you would know this place you just have to get marks. And you have the skill to get marks. That's what you have been training your whole school years. Quite easy. But that's not what life is. When you finish college, you'll understand that. But you can start preparing for it during college itself. I think that's what college is for, not for the degree. So look for a good college where you'll find people who with similar interests and some place which you like to learn for your adulthood. We'll talk about that later. You don't need courage to begin. You just need the willingness to be seen beginning. When you're starting something, you'll be seen by others. For example, publicly. For example, I was doing jujitsu, and I was total beginner. I've been working on for 3-4 years consistently, and I built a lot of muscle. And I thought I was pretty good at it. I'll be pretty good at it. I was kind of good at it, but I was getting ragdolled. I was getting thrown here and there. It was it was a nightmare. I never wanted to go to the next class. I just still went. I did for like 1-2 months, and I'm not going now. But I have to start again. I have to put some money together, and I have to start again. But I was, I had the courage to start begging, like start going. I was the smallest guy. I was like the only Indian guy there, and I was the skinniest. So you see, I still went there for 1 month, and every day I was getting beat up. Still, I went there. That's courage to see the beginning. You see, I learned a lot from there. If I were to never go there, I wouldn't have learned a lot of stuff. I wouldn't have met a lot of people, a lot of exceptional people. You see, I need to have the willingness to begin. You also need to be consistent, but this courage, it's like 60% of the work. Courage to go and, go for like 1 month just being brutally murdered, but still going there. That's part of it. And that's about it about procrastination. That's what I want to talk about. It's quite interesting, and you can get this article from by subscribing to Modern Wisdom email list, and I'll link it in the below. And please subscribe to my channel, and you can I'll be posting videos maybe 5 to 6 days, every 5 to 6 days. Whatever I find interesting, I try to record myself like instantly. So everything is non-scripted. And subscribing would be nice. I would like to grow my channel and get in touch with a lot of people and help a lot of people. And there's my Instagram handle, sha.ban.ge. That's my personal and my daily activities I do post there. And there's my Twitter account. I'll be having the link below as well, where I post interesting quotes I find, or interesting concepts, or small, let's just say phrases my mind thinks of. I just type it into Twitter. So yeah. Alright. See you in a few days. Goodbye.